And we are back, episode 38 of Journey to a Million. Wow, we're actually all three on the screen to start this episode. I didn't do anything funny. I decided actually just to keep it as is. So yeah, full squad here. Myself, Drew Skyberg, Zack Rausch. Zack, how you doing on this Thursday night?
Doing good.
Oh, he's still there. He's a little laggy there still, even as we are recording this.
Yeah.
And Jared, how are you doing here on this Thursday night as well?
Doing great.
I can hear you just fine. But otherwise, yeah. So this episode, it's an interesting one. So, look, we're a few weeks into the or a few weeks before the season starts, and we've covered all the positions, we've covered all the big names. So why don't we dedicate an episode to talking about some guys in training camp? Why not? I mean, we've done the positional previews, we've done the rankings, we've talked about the guys in the top 15, whatever of each position. Why not talk about guys who potentially could sneak in there? I know we also have some other preseason stuff and with other guys who are in that top 15, but why not spend some time in an episode to talk about guys? Like we're in a Dice League guy startup. It's pretty deep. I mean, these are guys who are actually getting rostered, and some of the audience potentially as well playing in other dynasty leagues where these guys could be used. So let's talk about them. We have some recent training camp headlines, and we'll talk about some fantasy implications with that. So I'll read the first one here. We're gonna talk about it right away. So yes, we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks QB battle. Yeah, I mean that might not sound the most appetizing thing. Drew Lock, Geno Smith, but Drew Lock, he tested positive for COVID, and the reports were Geno Smith was already ahead. I mean, Geno Smith, he's got to solidify his spot right now, right, guys?
I mean, yeah, Drew Lock's not going to really have the chance to prove himself anymore, and if Geno's already ahead, I think there's no coming back for Drew Lock, so I'm thinking Geno's going to start.
Yeah, I think Geno Smith is clear cut.
Geno's the favorite coming into this. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, you're lagging a lot, Zach, but that's okay.
Shoot.
Geno Smith is certainly looking like the guy. Actually, super flex wise, I am rostering him in a dynasty league because, look, it is very scarce there. Because I mean, you need guys, and that's just how it is. Jared, who are your quarterbacks in that dynasty league? I saw you make a little face there.
Well, I'm not happy with it. I mean, I got Kyler Murray and Jameis Winston, which is okay.
You have two guys who are going to be in the top 24. That's all you can ask for, right?
My backups aren't too good, but I mean, that's not really relevant. Yeah,
well,
Winston is okay, but
Geno Smith is available. I want a first. I got to keep the demands nice and high. Alec Pierce is going for a first. I got to just keep it. Maybe I'll pair him with Jelani Woods.
Throw on a third. Yeah, I could do that.
We'll see. But that was one. It was like, okay, Geno Smith, it could be for real. Whatever. Other story was another one here. Isaiah Pacheco. This is one like people are like, okay, well, I seriously was making the case in our group chat last night. I was like, I seriously think this guy's worth drafting, even in a redraft. I'm starting. It might be a bandwagon, it might be a lot of hype I'm throwing at it, but look, Pacheco, he started really behind guys like Ronald Jones, Jared McKinnon, and he's elevated himself arguably beyond those guys, is what reports have been saying. Look, Pacheco could potentially, if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not performing, he could take over that starting spot halfway through the season. There's options there. Pacheco's been the story all throughout all of camp. I mean, he's been the biggest story, it feels, for running backs, especially in a running back field that has so many questions. I guess, Jared, looking at Pacheco, would you have any interest in drafting him in a redraft even?
I mean, we kind of talked about it at our live show. I think we went over like players to draft around 17, 18 at the end of their draft, and he's a name that popped up. I mean, yeah, it would take a lot for him to be that starter. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire has kind of been inconsistent. He got, not utilized properly. Like you said, McKinnon and Jones have kind of fallen down a little bit, and Pacheco's kind of taken over. I think he'll start as like a 3, maybe a 2. Like reports are saying, he'll start at a 2. And he's definitely worth drafting because like there's so much upside for him. He is still really young. I mean, even in a redraft, age doesn't matter, I know, but he's still young, and I think that there's a lot of value with him, especially when we saw Clyde Edwards-Helaire kind of be not utilized. So he could somehow be their number one, I would say, like you said, maybe halfway through the season, if not like at the end.
Yeah, I could see it. Zach, is there something, or what do you think about Pacheco? Zach, does
I can hear him
you can hear him?
a little bit.
I can't hear him at all.
Zach,
Jared, do you hear Zach?
no, I can't.
We are waiting for Zach. That's okay. Might not be a Zach. Oh, there he goes. Is he here? Zach?
I think he's back.
Am I back?
Here he is. Oh
Yes.
my gosh. Okay, Isaiah Pacheco, Zach is who we're talking about. I want to hear your thoughts, especially in redraft, is kind of what we're looking at right now.
Well, yeah. I kind of started answering this before I guess my internet kind of cut out. But I think talking to you, Drew, over the last like 2-3 weeks has definitely skewed how I think of Pacheco, just because they're so high on him. And I just constantly hear good things about him because nobody I really talk to about fantasy football is low on him. Personally, I don't like the situation though. I think the Chiefs are just going to be they're going to be utilizing multiple backs in this backfield. I know where he's getting drafted. It's really not a big risk, and I would still draft him. I just don't think that he has, even if he is their, I guess, top option, I don't think he's going to be maybe a top 2 running back 2 on a team, especially if you're going for a fantasy championship.
Yeah, and my whole thing was with what you said. I would not draft him to 12-team league redraft. I would not. I mean I've said that, but I would strongly consider your last pick in a 14-team league to go with Isaiah Pacheco. I think if he is there in your last round, how many bench spots, or even a 12-team with extra bench spots, like that one, that's where. But like 14-team, all formats in redraft are. I think for that, I would be on him. I think Isaiah Pacheco is a guy who I mentioned could slide in. I know Zach, it might be a little congested, but Ronald Jones, I seriously think could get cut. And I know that we've been talking about that for like the last week now, and it still hasn't happened, but I still think it can happen. And I think he's on thin ice. But other than that, I think Jared McKinnon is his other competition. And I mean, what word is right now is that he's over McKinnon, which, it's hard to say, right? This is training camp reports.
I still think McKinnon. Yeah, I still think McKinnon is going to have a role though, and obviously,
Couldn't really hear a lot of what he said, but I caught the end.
Good. I didn't hear much, but I do agree with Zach. There is some concerns with McKinnon because of, I'm gonna guess you say something about the backfield receptions, something along those lines, because that sounds like something Zach would say. And yeah, I can understand the concerns, but scared money don't make no money is what they say. And with that, I would take the risk here. That's why I'm all for CMC number 1. Scared money don't make no money, Jared.
That's risky.
That's what
if
they
you're,
say.
If you're willing to play that game, yeah, go for it.
I think that's how you got to operate. Look, this is fantasy football. Maybe not in Dynasty. I get a look. There are 4.
There are 2 Zacks now.
Hold on, there are 2 Zacks. This is all over the place. I don't even know how do we even control 4 Zacks?
There he is.
There. Hey!
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Sound good?
What'd you do?
Anyways, Zach, what do you think about this? What my counter to whatever you were gonna say with McKinnon, which I think I said on the nose. I said scared money don't make no money, and you should go and take Pacheco. He has a higher ceiling than McKinnon, and I'm all for it with the last pick in a 14-team draft.
Yeah, like I said, I would draft him last round just because.
Yes.
I mean, last round, like, are you really going to lose anything if he doesn't turn out to anything? If he ends up being their fourth string back, are you going to lose anything? No. But I just think he's starting to get overhyped of people looking at his kind of potential, what he can be.
It's kind of like one of those things where else will that pick go? But yeah, I think that kind of reports come out and people jump all over it. I think hype gets really high on some players, and I think that he still has a lot of work to do before he can actually put some value on your team. But I mean, it's worth the risk, I guess.
I get, yeah. So you guys are a little bit more convincing needs to be done, and I think the rest of the training camp kind of accomplish that. Let's skip over on my list. I know I have an order here, but the two most impressive people for me at camp have so far been both Isaiahs. It's been Isaiah Pacheco and Isaiah McKenzie, and that's Isaiah McKenzie of the Buffalo Bills, who right now is viewed as the top slot receiver, which I put in parentheses, Cole Beasley kind of role. And that was from Joe Buscaglia of The Athletic is who reported that. And with that, guys, look, Isaiah McKenzie, slot receiver with Josh Allen as quarterback. Why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, got a lot of players there. I mean, you got McKenzie, like we said, the third, Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, and even Jamison Crowder. McKenzie is coming out above Crowder, I'm pretty sure. I think he's listed as wide receiver 3 on their depth chart. Like you said, top slot receiver is definitely something that could be his role this year, especially with Josh Allen. He can make him elite. I mean, it's worth having him on your team and a lot of upside.
Just saying, the only game last year he had over 35% snap share, he put up 32.4 fantasy points.
That's
so
actually a stat. Yeah.
Whatever that means, yeah. Like,
okay.
He's produced in the one game he got a good snap percentage.
Like, if he gets Cole Beasley's target share out of the slot, is what I'm saying. Like, he could be even in redraft. Like, I'm seriously, he needs to be drafted. Like, all formats, whatever standard, whatever, all 12-team leagues, he needs to be rostered. Like, regardless, is where I am on him, and it's crazy. People picked him up off the waiver wire, and like, again, of course, like he wasn't. I mean, like in summer, but like he was off the waiver wire, and yeah, and
I do just want to say, in our dynasty league, I did draft Jamison Crowder. At the time, his projections, I know we don't go off for projections, but it was at like 10 points per game. And ever since these reports have been going out, it went down to 3.7, which basically means like your production is no longer a thing and it's going to other players. So that's
Sleeper thinks that McKenzie's going to win the job.
Yeah, could easily be McKenzie.
Sleeper's buying into the McKenzie.
Sleepers buying in that, and Pacheco for sure. They are all over that. Like, if you click on Isaiah Pacheco, you just see, number 2. I think, have they updated their depth chart yet? I don't think they have, but when they do, they are gonna put him up at number 2. But look, he's been impressive. Both those guys, and it's hard to say right now. They are like you missed the buy low window. You missed it by a little bit there, unfortunately. But some other guys, like there's guys right now who are just growing right now, who are stories that came out today as we're recording August 18th. So again, these are smaller ones, but Jalen Warren, who went undrafted with the Steelers. Again, you're like, why are you talking about this guy? He is expected to be the clear-cut number 2 for them. The story that makes that, if you want Najee Harris's handcuff, which in essence would be getting a running back with a lot of volume, which would be the goal. Jalen Warren right now could be that guy. There's not a lot to say about what role he'll have, but look, in the preseason, he was impressive. I believe
he did
Zach,
look
you were
good in
talking
the
about
preseason.
That? Yeah. You want to talk about that a little bit more,
He
Zach?
did look good in that game. I saw a little bit of that game, and I mean, he was being efficient. He was getting the touches. He was making the most out of his touches.
Is he going like ahead of Benny Snell too? You think he's going ahead of Benny Snell?
It's hard to say ADP, Jared, because
that's my only question.
He's more of a guy that's it's going to be in like a deep dynasty league is when you're going to get him. I don't think redraft. I don't think you're going to look at him at all. So.
Exactly kind of where I was going format wise. This guy is not a 12-team redraft not even a 4-team team redraft. This is a guy you're looking dynasty, lots of roster spots, a lot of guys you need to stash. That's where I'd say you're looking for a guy like Jaylen Warren, who again, the other thing, which do you guys buy in this? So like, I guess to an extent, like if you drafted the guy in like the top 3 rounds, of course you're gonna give them a bigger chance. But like guys in rounds 5 through 7 or even undrafted, I guess is there like more of a leash, I guess, like for that, or overall what I'm asking basically is, does Jaylen Warren, if he does bad for just a little bit, is he going to get, because he was undrafted, I mean, they didn't waste a lot on him, obviously. Are they going to like let him go? I guess, does that concern you a little bit with Warren?
For the Steelers?
Yeah.
You're saying like for the Steelers?
Yeah.
I think he might slide down the depth chart, but I think he's pretty solidified into that to stay on the team as kind of a top 3 back. So I won't be too worried about him getting cut, I guess. But
yeah, because I was looking at him, and well, now Benny Snell's kind of been a guy, because when we talk about a guy coming up, it can go up or it can go down, and Benny Snell is the guy who's going down. He is number 3 now, supposedly in the depth chart. There's also McFarland as well, right? Isn't there Anthony McFarland?
Yeah, Anthony McFarland. He's listed at, actually, I looked at their depth chart before we hopped on. He's listed as 3. And I think that Jaylen Warren was still 4, but that might not be updated. That might be from like a week ago or so.
So
they're
where
all
does
in
Snell
like
go?
General area, I'm pretty sure.
Where does Snell go from here? We do not know. But that's a question to be asked. Again, he's a guy, not as big of a deal if we're looking redraft, but a guy who actually might have some redraft value here, Joshua Kelly. So why I say this is he's of the Los Angeles Chargers. And
Zack's Chargers.
Oh, sorry, Zack's Chargers, yes.
Yeah.
And he right now is, again, the favorite. Daniel Popper of The Athletic is the credit here. Favorite to be the number 2 guy here with the Chargers, which would mean Austin Eckler's handcuff, essentially, is kind of where I'm going with this. Again, who knows with Austin Eckler, volume-wise, I mean, Austin Eckler's going to be top 5 for sure, top 3, you could even say. Look, what do you guys think here about Josh Kelly? I know, Zach, don't you hold Isaiah Spiller? So there's a concern there with Spiller. I guess, how would you approach this, Zach, as an Isaiah Spiller owner or even an Eckler owner?
So I guess, well, I own him in Dynasty, so I'm gonna hold on to him. Got him in the 2nd round. That was more of a long-term pick. For redraft, I think I don't know. I think it's still a toss-up. I think there's still enough of camp left that they can obviously switch roles. Spiller can overtake that running back 2 role. Kelly can fall to the RB3. But ultimately, it's a handcuff, so a lot can happen. They could get injured even. If Eckler goes down, one of them could go down. But I think I'd still be taking Spiller over Joshua Kelly, just because we've seen Joshua Kelly play in the past, and he hasn't been a great fantasy running back.
Yeah, if we're talking redraft, I agree like 100% with you, Zach. I would take Spiller over Kelly, but if we go to the dynasty side of things, I mean, Eckler's 27 years old, so he's getting up there. So, I mean, if you want to take Joshua Kelly, I mean, go ahead. Look next year, the year after, Eckler, more injury prone, getting up there in age. I mean, they're going to be take over as that maybe even 1. So I think that their future is bright. But for redraft, I think Joshua Kelly would be a good 2 or 3, but not worth drafting, I don't think. Especially if you're behind Eckler. There's not much value there.
So here's my thing. If I draft Austin Eckler, what if I go with and take Joshua Kelly there in like one of the last rounds? I get his handcuff. I mean, especially in a standard league, I think there could be some strategy there. I would like that, but for right now, for me, it's Joshua Kelly is my favorite in redraft out of those 2, and then in dynasty, I'm all for Isaiah Spiller. Is where I'd go with it.
Yeah,
okay,
that's fair.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And then my question, then, Zach. So, Joshua Kelly, then, or this guy we're going to mention right now, Eno Benjamin. So they're both handcuffs to pretty good running backs. Which one would you take? We'll talk more about Benjamin then.
I would take Benjamin just because James Conner, I think he's dealt with injuries a lot more during his career. So I think even if Conner stays healthy, I think Benjamin might have a role alongside Conner in that backfield.
Darrell Williams is there though too, right?
Yeah, Williams got pushed down depth chart big time. Looking at training camp.
He's still a decent athlete. I mean, last season with the Chiefs, he was with the Chiefs, right? I'm pretty sure he had over 500 yards and 8 touchdowns. That's just stats, but I mean, when Clyde Edwards-Helaire went down, I mean, he stepped up. He had a decent role there in Kansas City. I mean, he's not someone that's just going to fall down a depth chart. He's still going to get his action. So I think Benjamin might be more of a risk, but he's probably still worth having on the team.
The point I like to look at was look what Chase Edmonds did behind James Conner last year. And again, I know James Conner and I know Chase Edmonds is probably a better athlete, better running back than Benjamin. I know Conner missed some time, but all I'm saying is if Benjamin can get that sort of opportunity he got or Chase Edmonds got, that could really help him out, even like get a better deal. Look what Edmonds got in Miami, and also just fantasy wise too. I'm actually, I might be like a little too bullish on Benjamin, but my whole thing was like looking at the opportunity. I like him in Dynasty, especially if he's on your waiver wire. Please go pick him up. He should not be there, but even
James
redraft
Conner's missed games in each of the last 3 years as well.
It does depend how many bench slots there are too, though.
For sure, yes. Redraft. That's always a good point, Jared. But what if you draft James Conner? Like, would you look to prioritize, maybe not prioritize, but like look to get him in one of your last rounds?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you have him, then you can't go wrong. You put him in, one goes down, Connor's out. I mean, put him in. Yeah, you can't go wrong there if you have them both. Kind of like the Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison kind of thing last year.
Yes.
Cook goes down, put Madison in.
And I'm
Drew,
always
are you a fan?
good. Go ahead, Zach.
Are you a fan of drafting the handcuffs of your starting running backs?
Am I? Depends on the format. Redraft, let's say a redraft league standard non PPR, which again you're like, who plays in that? It's 2022. Yeah, I'm for it. I feel running backs are scarcity. I feel like that is a prized asset. Even in like PPR, you could say that, but I'm not as for it in PPR though, in the sense that I'm looking for running backs who maybe I do too much, but I like to look for running backs still who have a lot of receiving options. But Dynasty, dude, I'm just looking for best available, man. I mean, that's just an absolute gauntlet. Where are you guys on that? Are you guys also? I mean, like, where do you look at handcuffs?
Depends on the bench size. If it's a smaller bench, I try and get my running backs early. I'll go 4 running backs, each with they're going to have their standalone value, have a role, and then I just load up on receivers in the late rounds.
Like with me, I'm not going to draft. Like, I hate split backs. I know we're not talking split backs, but it has to be like a handcuff, like we said. And I don't know if I like doing it because it's like some of the best running backs, unless they're like injury prone, like we said, like CMC, then yeah, I'll take the handcuff there. But if it's like a Dalvin Cook or a Kamara, someone that's like rarely gets injured, it's just not worth it for me. So I just don't like wasting a pick kind of on them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Where I look, okay, so you said split, you brought up a great point. You actually brought up something I was looking at right away here. Was split backs versus handcuffs. So split backs, which Jared, I think Rashad Penny and Kenneth Walker is the split back. I would even consider Javonte and Melvin Gordon, at least what I'm hearing, split back.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
Williams is going to have
definitely
a much larger share.
Well, there's been talks, again, who's to say? Right now it sounds 60-40, Zach.
I mean, Melvin Gordon came out and said the Broncos want Javonte to be the guy.
Which, in essence,
he said that himself.
You would hope means, which, and again, there's been, at the start, they said 70-30. They were like, oh my gosh, it could even be 80-20. And then, 60-40. Like, it's insane, the amount of fluctuation there's been seen.
Yeah.
But I seriously think, though, there's a chance it could be 60-40.
I mean, Gordon's also, was he 29, 28, 29?
Yeah, he's getting old,
He's an old back. So
he'd be the 40. But...
Yeah, well, yeah.
But
I just see Williams getting close to 20 touches a game.
You have someone like Williams have a great rookie
20.
season. kind of like a Najee. People said better than Najee Harris. You're not going to have that split back. You're going to be 70-30 at most, I'd say.
Well, I said 60-40. I mean, that's that's not necessarily a huge difference.
60-40 is kind of close to 50-50. So I want to go a little farther than that.
I mean, I think if they wanted Gordon to have a large role, they would have signed him a lot earlier.
Thank you.
It took them a while to sign Gordon this offseason, so.
And I think it did
that's another thing to
because
look at.
they did it around the draft, didn't they? It was like, okay, well, they must have not didn't like any of the running backs, which I guess we'll kind of go over to different backfield here, guys, because we have a lot to talk about. Travis Homer. So you might be like, okay, well, we're talking about more than just Travis Homer and DJ Dallas in Seattle. We'll talk about Walker and Petty still, I promise. But Travis Homer had 4 rushes for 41 yards and then also 2 catches for 33 yards. He looked like the best running back who out of all of them that played in that game, which did include Kenneth Walker. Again, this is preseason. Please do not I say you take preseason with a grain of salt. I mean, it's not a big deal here. And with that, guys, are you looking at Kenneth Walker? Are you concerned a little bit with this performance? Travis Homer, I think Travis Homer, all he's doing is finding himself in an RB3 in an already crowded backfield. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I think he's going to stay in there and see the receiving work like he has in the past.
Okay. How does that hurt? So Jared, and I don't want to be critical of right now your kind of situation with Penny and Walker, but I really hate
tough
it for
situation.
You. I really don't like it for you because
that's a tough situation.
It looked amazing when Chris Carson retired. That looked amazing.
It did, but the concern
went down from there.
Well, the main concern is, of course, injury wise with both those guys, but also you have to wait for one of them to leave because right now, what is it going to be? Is it going to be like 45-45-10? Like
it
40,
depends
40, 20?
because Kenneth Walker just had hernia surgery, so he might be ready for week 1. So right now, Rashad Penny's starting, but
I thought it wasn't hernia surgery.
It was hernia, right?
Was it? I thought Pete Carroll came out and said it wasn't. There's a different.
That's what they said at first. I don't know.
They
if
said he should be ready for week 1.
Did they change it after?
Not.
Yeah.
Here,
either
I'll do some looking at this, but with Kenneth Walker and Rashad Penny, can I ask this? Redraft, who would you prioritize?
Rashad Penny.
Yeah. Okay, so Penny is for sure the lead one, which I'm with you guys. Penny will be the one. But okay, Kenneth Walker, I type it in. I see. Okay, they're saying dealing with hernia issue, but this is from he's undergoing a procedure. It's not a sports hernia. He is undergoing a procedure is the quote. Okay. So Pete Carroll is not going to be transparent about this. That's Pete Carroll. So we're not going to probably know, but it's a sport.
How many more years is Pete Carroll going to be the coach?
He's
as
old.
many years as how much gum he has left.
He's like 71 or something.
He's got to be out of gum pretty soon.
Yeah, he's really
all right.
old,
Pete Carroll age. Throw out some answers, guys. What do you guys think? Zach said 71. Jared, 71. Throw me in it.
Well, how old is Andy Reid?
No, Jared, you don't get to use that.
No, he's not. Isn't he older?
No.
All right, we're not going to argue about coaches' ages, people.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Pete Carroll will play till he's 75 years old. Or he'll coach.
He's not going to play.
He'll coach.
And that wasn't even my question.
Drew, what's his age right now?
His age right now? Pete Carroll is probably 72.
70? Zach's right. Well, he was the closest, not right. But you guys get the point. Okay, sorry. That was just a little tangent there. Anyways, I hate the Seattle backfield more than I hate the Miami Dolphins backfield. And what's another backfield I just
like? You don't hate the Miami Dolphins backfield.
Well, I mean, for fantasy perspective.
Aren't you all? Okay, yeah, I guess.
What about the Oakland Raiders backfield? How about that?
That's actually one we're going to talk about, Zach.
Oakland? The Oakland Raiders.
He meant Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Same thing, you know.
Oh, my goodness.
Great team run city.
Anyways, Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated believes Amir Abdullah will have the James White role with the Raiders, which Josh McDaniels is kind of that tie, which we bring up. Amir Abdullah. Look, this backfield. So there's a lot of guys. It's Zamir White, Amir Abdullah, and then, of course, the guy in front. Look, with Josh Jacobs, where would you guys say with this, or with
Isn't
this
Kenyon Drake
backfield?
there too?
Yeah, Kenyon Drake's the other one. So
Yeah.
4 guys. So
I-
with this, how do you approach this?
I kind of see Kenyon Drake as more of the James White role player. I mean,
So you're telling Albert Breers, right? I mean, that's
he's I don't know. I haven't seen Amir Abdullah too much, but I think that Kenyon Drake would fit more into that role. But I think Abdullah has to prove himself yet, which he's doing. He's getting there. But I mean, that's what I see.
I mean, personally, I'm just avoiding the whole backfield in
Yes.
fantasy. Like in my drafts, I'm just avoiding the whole backfield. But I think
What's wrong with Josh
if I was going
Jacobs?
to target somebody, it would be Zamir White later in drafts.
Yeah.
Zamir White later in redrafts, rookie drafts. I think he should be going mid-second round, early second round potentially, depending on how the draft turns out. I like Zamir White. Glad you brought him up, Zach. He's my favorite one out of the 4 as well. I'd be looking because the big story, right? Josh Jacobs. This is last year with the Raiders. Is kind of what we're seeing, and the candidates to lead the backfield next year. He certainly, he's going to be up there. I can't imagine. Amir Abdullah is 29, I believe. And then also, how old is Kenyon Drake? Is he like 29, 28
He's
too?
up there too.
So
28, 29, yeah.
Basically, Zamir White is destined to have that number 1 spot. I just
Josh Jacobs, 24.
24? 20.
Yeah, 24. He's young still.
Where do you guys think he's going to go next year?
He's just getting off his rookie deal, so
Yeah.
We're early
Not
winners,
Las
early
Vegas.
favorites.
I think he's risky. It depends how he does. Are you talking next year or are you talking
Yeah, I'm saying next year. Where do you think he's going to
um
go? Just a question. I'll throw one out there.
Colts, yeah, Colts. I
No,
don't know.
not the Colts.
I have no idea. Maybe like the
terrible
Panthers. No, not the Panthers. They got. I don't know. I have no idea.
I
have
could
no
see
idea.
if Kamara,
because
if Kamara
Yeah.
serves, I got a guy right now. Kamara, if he has to serve a suspension next year, I could see him going to the Saints.
Okay.
There's one
Yeah.
right there.
what
I
about
know.
Atlanta?
Yes,
Well, they don't have
yeah,
anyone.
exactly.
They don't got anyone.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's some
exactly.
teams there, so
Yeah.
that's kind of where we are with.
No, the Jets got Brees Hall. Never mind.
Yeah, they're gonna be set. I really like Brees Hall. Just a side thing there, but I got one that I just had to throw in here. This one's not really that exciting. Travis Fulgham, claimed by Packers off waivers from Broncos. He appeared in some games last year with the Eagles, and I think it was last year. But basically, I believe he's already on he was on the practice squad in 2020. So kind of a reunion in that aspect. Travis Fulgham, he's actually getting added a lot right now in dynasty leagues, which is just because a lot of people are across the fantasy football community just don't like the Packers receiving core, and the dynasty they're just anyone because Rodgers is still there. Travis Fulgham, how many roster bench spots would you need to take a shot at Travis Fulgham?
Well, that's the problem. It's just who's going to be the player in Green Bay. You can pick up Randall Cobb. You can pick up Dobbs.
I highly doubt it's
Watson.
Travis Fulgham.
Yeah,
I highly doubt it's Travis
There's no way.
Samori Torre, you got
There's
you got
about
Watkins.
10 receivers that we're talking about and how they could possibly be in the starting role. It's
Unless he goes back to how he played like the first 5 weeks of 2020, like he's not gonna play in Green Bay.
So which they're taking flyers.
He was listed as like a third string, one of the 3 third strings on the depth chart. So
we'll take it. We'll take
top
it.
nine.
But,
top 9. Yeah.
So back to my question. I would say I would need, in order to add him, I would need, let's say, 30 bench spots.
30 bench spots.
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing against Travis Fulgham. It's just there are a lot of other guys I'd rather add who are on waiver wires right now. I mean, I would, if I could right now, especially Zach in the Dynasty League you have, there are like 15 guys right now I would want to claim, but I don't have bench spots.
Yeah.
Like Devin Duvernay is still there, and like I would take a wide receiver too from Baltimore. Might not sound like a lot, but I think there's some upside there.
Yeah.
Okay, hate to get on a little tangent there, but we got more guys to talk
got some
about.
guys in that league that don't match their bench that club.
No, we don't. Okay, so more Packers stuff. Yes, Jared, Packer podcast. You can live with it.
Yeah.
You see in both of our. So we have Bucks and Brewers in Jared's background. Packers, Brewers, and a Topps baseball card in my background. And then we have Badgers, which, Zach, we don't like the Badgers. We like Marquette here. But we have
No. Come on now.
Then we
Hey,
have Packers
Badger
and Brewers.
football, okay?
Yes, Badger
football.
football's okay. That's
Should I
okay.
put this
Yep.
in my background?
That's what it's for.
Should I put this?
No,
No,
Jared, get that out.
which
You don't like
we'll,
that.
we'll mention the hat Jared's wearing later at the end of the episode. We'll leave it at that. But more Packers news here. So we kind of talked about this at our live show. If you haven't listened to it, aired Monday, along with as Drew Sports Crew with Journey to Million episode. It was episode 37 of Journey to Million. Awesome stuff there. It was a great episode. We got a lot of great feedback on it, guys. So hats off to you guys it was an awesome show. It was a lot of fun. But back to it. Royce Newman was the guy who we talked about a little because we talked about training camp for the Packers. And the story was Royce Newman was winning 1v1s versus Rashawn Gary. I mentioned this to Zach even. We were talking a little bit off after live show. This still just is shocking to me. And it's nothing against Royce Newman. It's just Rashawn Gary, the amount of value he has, especially right now, he is one of the most prized possessions for up and coming edges. I think Rashawn Gary is a great player, but Royce Newman's winning some battles. That's good for this offensive line, who's gotten a lot of not so nice things to say about from Aaron Rodgers, especially. What do you think about Royce Newman here?
I mean, you
So
kind
one
of
good piece of
said it.
One good piece of news coming out about their line.
Yeah, you said it at the live show. We read that line, and without Bakhtiari, don't know, they're nobodies. And Rodgers has said, like you said, I mean, someone's got to step up, and if it is Newman, good. I mean, you need the reports like that coming out. It's always good to hear.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see this offensive line. And Jared, you have the luxury. So you like Wisconsin Badgers football, you like Indianapolis Colts football, and think about the offensive lines, the teams you have, which I know Packers offensive line is still when it's healthy, it's
they were
top 10.
Yeah, they were top. I mean, it was last year, 2 years ago, they were borderline top 5 even.
Yeah, Elton Jenkins, Bakhtiari.
It's always something I take for granted being a Colts fan. I mean, people like, Costanzo went out, then we get someone new, just fills right in. Glowinski's out, find someone new, come right in. I mean, it's easy for the Colts, I guess, to find players, and it's just a luxury to have a good offensive line because that develops players such as Jonathan Taylor as a top running back in the league because you need an offensive line that can block for you.
Yeah, but quarterback is a different situation. We'll talk another Packer thing here. I talked about this a little before, and Jared was like, now. Romeo Doubs or Christian Watson. He's like, has to be Watson. I'm not so sure anymore. And call me crazy, but Romeo Doubs has certainly impressed in camp. I mean, you can't deny that.
Yes.
You can't deny that.
Okay. He has impressed, but so have a lot of players. And Watson was their second round pick. Who did they trade? Yeah, they traded up in the second round for him. Dobbs was what, a sixth rounder? I want to say, right? He was 6th round.
Jared draft where you drafted this.
I get that, but they've had to see something in Watson, and he just hasn't shown it yet. He's gonna get the reps. Preseason, he's not gonna play a lot because
he's got to be healthy first.
Just because Dobbs caught a touchdown pass at the preseason game doesn't make him number 2 on the depth chart.
Yeah, you're true.
I was gonna weirdly agree with Jared in the aspect that draft capital does matter. Look, Jordan Love was drafted in the 1st round, and he's not going anywhere. I mean, they're not going to trade him.
Was drafted.
This because they'll be able to give him anything good for him.
Well, yes, Zach, that's an aspect too. But when you trade up for a guy, you're certainly gonna take. You're gonna wait for him. You're gonna wait longer.
You're gonna take a guy you like. Yeah, I know.
Look, the Milwaukee Brewers drafted Corey Ray in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
He's still. I mean, they're still taking a chance out of Zach. They might have demoted him AA, but okay, I know it's a football show. But
hey, but
look,
I know it's a football show, but Corbin Burns was in AA 2 years ago, and now he's Cy Young. So. Or 3 years ago.
Well, yes, Jared, but your point stands. Look, draft capital wise, doesn't really it matters in some degree, but look, I think Romeo Doubs.
It matters to like how long of a, as you said, for like how long the team is going to commit to you for.
Yeah, like the leash thing.
Like, your production and how you play, like where you get drafted, doesn't matter.
So
Yeah.
right now you have to, which it's unfair to say, but even if you're looking redraft to draft one of these guys, you would say Romeo Doubs over Christian Watson, I think, for this year, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Because
and
of the reps. Go ahead,
just
Jared.
to add a little bit to that, it's kind of like Zach said. I mean, yes, Christian Watson, he doesn't need to impress anyone, really. I mean, it's always nice to see him impress, but Romeo Doubs is playing for his like NFL career here, like 6th round pick. He's got to prove something. So if he goes out there and lights it up, then he'll get some playing time. But if not, he's just not going to play. So he's working for himself. And that's why he's probably trying to play the best football he's ever played in his life.
Is it Dobbs redraft then and Watson dynasty?
Yeah.
No.
It's
What?
Watson for both?
Yeah, it's Watson for both, I'd say.
I disagree. I
You
straight
think
up
Dobbs for
disagree.
redraft?
Jared,
Because he missed
think
out all
about how
camp so
much-
far.
yeah.
Well,
He's
yeah,
a
but
rookie.
he's
Think about how
still-
much
he's
having
still going to
chemistry
be wide
with
receiver
Rodgers
too.
matters. Think
Yeah,
about
it
how
does.
much having chemistry with Rodgers matters.
Yeah.
You know how
I know.
long that takes to build? If
But didn't
Watson misses
Rodgers-
like all of camp,
Didn't Rodgers say, got a lot of young receivers dropping passes, doing blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not like he's happy with them, right? He's saying
So
someone
that
needs
would
to
be
step up. And maybe that's Watson, who's not playing right now because he's hurt. Maybe he's the one that steps up.
And he got activated off the pup, I believe. So he's going to start practicing blue with the team is kind of what it sounds like.
Well, to
I
be
don't know
honest,
if he'll.
if we're starting with this, I'm not redraft. I would never touch Romeo Doubs because there's just not enough places on my team unless there's a lot of bench. But I don't
So
see
let
it.
me ask you this: 14-team league PPR. Would you touch him?
14 team, he'd be like a high 20 round pick. Mid 20s. I'd say like 20.
No, I'm talking redraft. You're not gonna have mid-20s, Jared.
Okay, so 14 teams.
I don't give you don't get that many roster spots. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not giving you that many.
Well,
redraft.
I don't want. He'd just be a waste of a roster.
Best
spot.
I can do
That's
is
what
20,
see him
Jared.
as. I don't see him as valuable right
Jared
now.
just hates on Dobbs.
No, I'm just sick of all these. First,
He's-
It is
Sammy
Dobbs.
Watkins.
It is
Like him.
confirmed. It is
First,
Dobbs.
first
I
it's
have
Sammy
heard-
Watkins saying he's gonna blow up. Then it's Cobb. Then it's
Yeah.
Watkins. Now it's Dobbs. Like who's next? You know, there's always someone that Packer fans are
Who
saying.
said Cobb?
No one, but there's always.
Bernie
All these
Vandenheuvel,
Packer
Sammy
fans.
Watkins, anyone? I
Yeah.
mention that to him every time. I'm like, do you remember the time you came on the show and you said Sammy Watkins is gonna finish top 25? Like,
And I've even heard Tyler Goodson is gonna be top whatever.
well,
you know,
he's
like,
good.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Ah,
it's just so much going on. Like, who's it gonna be? We can't just keep saying this person. Now it's this person. Like, no, it's not
Why
gonna
not?
be.
Well, yeah, okay. I agree with
It's
you.
gonna
Jared.
be Aaron Jones.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Or AJ Dillon. Love the
Easy
trade. I just
answer.
got done in Dynasty League. Very nice. I'll take Jameson Williams for AJ Dillon any day. So
Yeah,
I mean, I did that trade. I got AJ Dillon. I should rephrase.
yeah,
But
yeah.
talk about some. Let's talk about some of the players. You know, more people care about me. These guys are going to be roster any format. Let's talk about one that Jared loves. That it keeps getting colder and colder by the day. Antonio Gibson. So he first gets criticized by his head coach to the media. Then he has to play. He was playing with second stringers, and then he's playing on special teams. Jared, should I give you the mic here? I guess. How
It's
can
not-
you?
No, people are. They're testing him out. They're seeing if he's
We're
versatile.
overreacting then. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I want to
Yeah.
hear the defense.
I told Zach. I texted Zach before this. I said the only concern I have with Gibson is his lack of ball security. Poor ball security is going to lose him his job, if anything.
Which he's got benched for multiple times already. in the past.
If you fumble twice in 2 possessions, you're not going out for the 3rd possession, and that happened
and
last
the
year.
preseason
Like,
game. He got benched in
yeah.
the preseason game
Well,
because he
preseason's
fumbled.
different because he
He
gets
played
you
in
know,
the preseason. That's
Everyone
Yeah.
plays in the preseason game.
not in the first one. Not
Every
always.
Colt played in the preseason game except Jonathan Taylor. Like, he's not on his level. He's going to play. But my point is, like, Gibson's still going to get his carries 15 to 20. He's still going to put up the numbers. He's a great running back too on a team. And people are overreacting on him, saying how he's not going to be good. He's not getting carries. Like, just calm down. Like, he's young. He's going to play. They have a lot of potential. He has a lot of potential, high ceiling. All I worry about is his fumbling. That's about it.
I want
So
Jared
you're-
in the Dynasty League that I just traded for Gibson in.
Yeah, I have
Zach?
Gibson in like every league. If you haven't caught on,
Yeah.
so
Zach got the biggest haul for Christian McCaffrey
I saw
I've
that.
seen. I was impressed. I let him know I was pleased, and yeah, some good stuff, Zach. You did. I was at a Brewer game, and I look at my phone. I see a trade is now pending. I'm like, Zach did it. He definitely did something. And then look at it. I'm like, wow. So, but otherwise, so Jared's not worried at Gibson. What about David Montgomery? This is a guy who actually I own a share of. What do we think about him? He's playing special teams. Khalil Herbert, man, he's sneaking up there. Is he someone we really should be, worried about?
No, I'm just gonna say that I had Khalil Herbert on my team last year or 2 years ago. I don't know. He was like someone that I filled in, and when David Montgomery came back, Khalil Herbert disappeared. If Montgomery's playing, Herbert's not. And I think that's just the end of it.
Well, I mean, they do have a new coach, so that can change it. But I think David Montgomery is still going to be a very solid second running back on the fantasy team. I don't think you're going to be drafting him as your top running back, though.
Handcuff. Anyways, no, I seriously I think Herbert's gonna have a bigger role than last year. I'll throw that in based on how Montgomery's been used. I do think Montgomery still reception wise, I still like that in PPR, of course, with him. But I don't know. I really think I was too high on David Montgomery, coming into last year, and starting to regret drafting him a little bit because I don't know. He's starting maybe I shouldn't say this, but he's starting to feel more like a dead zone running back to me. Like he really, and for me, I was higher on him. I'm feeling more like a dead zone. Is that Zach crazy?
I think he's getting there.
I personally never had David Montgomery in any of my teams, like ever.
Yeah, me either.
There's reason to that.
It's also going to be a bad offense. That offense is not going to be good.
I've been saying that.
I would still take Montgomery over Gibson.
Ooh, whoa, okay.
Ooh.
Because Gibson for me
that's a good question. I think we.
That's why I bring it up.
That one.
I would take Gibson.
I think that's a poll.
10 out of 10 times.
Really? Is it because he's younger?
Yeah, he's younger. Yeah. No. Oh, funny. Montgomery is not. Is Montgomery older? Is he like?
Yeah, he's 25, Jared.
25. Okay.
And you know how old Gibson? How old is he?
Yeah,
he's 24. He's younger. No, I don't think
he's younger.
Anyways, why would you take Gibson over Montgomery?
I see Gibson as more of an agile back, not someone that's just going to run up the middle. I see him as more of a pass catcher as well. I know Montgomery catches passes too, but like I see him as more of a Le'Veon Bell. Someone that's gonna like be patient, not the biggest guy, but like smaller, quicker, someone that can break one any time of the game. Rather than
Montgomery's
more of a more of a goal line.
He's gonna get the goal line carry, and he's just gonna get more volume in general. That's what I think.
Yeah, I just don't think Montgomery is capable of breaking as many big runs that Gibson can. I think that Gibson's quicker and Montgomery is more
going for upside, I guess.
Yeah.
You're going for upside.
Basically, yeah.
For me, I see Brian Robinson more likely to take over the starting job with the Commanders than Khalil Herbert does. So
that's true.
I think Robinson is the better. I think Robinson seriously has a bigger shot to take a bigger role than Khalil Herbert. So I'm doing it solely off of volume, in that aspect, because I think both offenses are going to be horrendous. Both have top receivers who are going to have to live off targets in Mooney, McLaurin. Both have maybe not so great quarterback play, at least right now. I don't know. That's kind of where I'd go. But yeah, that's a good question. We'll run a poll, Jared. Do you want it to be PPR? I think it should be PPR. PPR, we'll just say who's better, Gibson or Montgomery.
Mm-hmm. And don't say like who says who, because like that would be.
I won't. No, I won't.
Sway their vote.
I mean, people will probably know who said Gibson, but I'm just gonna say who's better.
Yeah.
And we have a few more here before we'll wrap up. We're already actually 49 and a half minutes through. You guys we're killing it here. So other ones, Brandon Ayuk is looking like the star. This is from Zach, looking like the star of 49ers camp with Trey Lance. And Zach, you highlighted Debo's not practicing. I hate to steal your thunder here. But Brandon Ayuk, man, he's been someone you've been all over. And you want to talk about it? Why?
I mean, if you look at his rookie season, he was amazing. He had a down first half last year, came back second half, played good. So I have 2 seasons. He's had one half of bad fantasy production. I think Trey Lance is going to be, even though he's going to be running more, I think he's far more willing to air it out than Jimmy Garoppolo was. So I think it's going to be more efficient of a passing attack. I think that's going to help Ayuk and probably Debo as well. And just looking at how Debo's contract is, he's getting bonuses for rushing stats. So I think even though there's reports coming out that he didn't want to be rushing this year, he's still going to be rushing just the way his contract is set up. I mean, there's bonuses built in for a reason. It's because he wants to get those bonuses. So I think he's going to be rushing, and that's going to take receptions away from him as well.
I mean, that's exactly what I was going to say. If Debo's running the ball, Ayuk's their wide receiver 1. And I think it's confusing with Debo because like he said he didn't want receiving and rushing, but maybe that was a false rumor. Whatever happened, I don't think that he's going to be a solely running back or solely receiver. I think he'll still play both roles. But yeah, if he's their running back, Ayuk's going to be their receiver 1, and he's going to get a lot of value and volume for that.
It's tough for me because look, there's a lot of mouths to feed there. I know we said it for a lot of offenses, but this one just it puzzles me. George Kittle is still there. Ayuk, of course. Elijah Mitchell. I mean, he has to be a bust candidate. I know, just the running game, because if Debo's going to run as much as we're thinking here, right? Which the bonus is that Zach. That's a great point, right? I mean, there's a reason it's there. So I think even with Trey Lance, how much is he going to run? I don't know. I don't see Ayuk being productive enough. I put him at like the Rashad Bateman level in terms of their wide receiver ones on run heavy offenses.
I think I got Ayuk in like the 8th or 9th round, 7th, 8th round, somewhere in there. In the dynasty startup we just had.
Where'd Bateman go? Do we know?
Bateman, I think he went around the same area.
I
think
feel
it was it was a Gabe Davis, Brendan Ayuk, Rashad Bateman were kind of like back to back receivers in that range. Like they were all around the same range.
I actually really like Ayuk. I considered drafting him if I'm able to. Maybe even go out, like early on him. I really like him. I think, like we said, with Elijah Mitchell being a bust candidate, if Debo and Elijah Mitchell are competing for that running back role, it's going to Debo 10 out of 10 times. You're not going to give it to Elijah Mitchell. Debo's stronger. He can break more tackles, just better athlete. And that leaves, like you said, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. They're going to get the targets, receptions, and I think Ayuk's going to have a great season this year, especially if Debo is running the ball a lot more.
I just think Ayuk's a lot more talented than people give him credit for after last year.
Mm-hmm. So Ayuk, Zach, right now with Trey Lance being, which we know he's a starter, but with Trey Lance, redraft wise, you're taking Ayuk this year. You think this is the year, or are you more dynasty? Like you think maybe this year's going to be more of a development year than next year's that year?
I think he's going to have value this year. I'd say I like him more in dynasty than just redraft, but I think he's still going to be good enough this year to reach his ADP.
Okay. Yeah, I that's fair. I can settle with that. We got to talk about the Patriots still, guys, and we have to talk about Jared's guy, Michael Thomas. Yes, I believe you own him, Jared, so he's your guy.
No, I traded him away.
Whatever. You had him. He was your guy. Fine. Okay, Patriots. Let's talk about it. So, Zach, I'll let you talk about it. Look, I see you got the notes up here. Go. All yours.
Yeah, so I guess I was just kind of looking at some training camp reports. I try and keep up with them like every day, every week, whatever. And it sounds like the Patriots are kind of changing their blocking scheme with the new offense headlined by Matt Patricia. They're going to go to a zone run blocking scheme where they used to go to a like a gap blocking scheme. So reports came out saying Mac Jones, the other players are looking very uncomfortable. I guess that to me that's a big red flag. If your players are uncomfortable, I think that's a big issue, especially quarterback and it hasn't produced in, I guess, results. So I think that's a big thing to look forward to or I guess not look forward to, but think about this year.
And when we went over our on a different podcast, I mentioned briefly that the Patriots were looking to change their offense, a new scheme they were using. I think we were talking about Devontae Parker and how that might affect his game. And now this is not the direction I thought they were going in. I thought they were going in more of like a pass-heavy offense where Mac Jones would air the ball out a little more. But with this new scheme, if Mac Jones is uncomfortable, young player uncomfortable in an offense is never a good sign. So I don't see him the value there. And it kind of makes me want to take back my Devontae Parker pick of even being close to a sleeper candidate.
So with the zone run blocking scheme that Zach mentioned, this arguably would kind of mean they're going to, I mean, they've been running a lot, right, as an offense in whole these past few years, but zone run blocking scheme would imply, I think we're going to see more out of Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris. I think that's really what we're going to see. So looking at that, Jared, I know Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker, yes, I have him. And I also have Jacoby Myers. So we can mourn over this together on this. But Ramondre or Damian Harris right now, I think this question's asked all the time. Who would you rather have redraft in Dynasty?
Harris.
Stevenson.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
not voting yet. But okay, which one was that? Was that redraft or dynasty? It was redraft that you guys said.
Redraft, yeah.
I'm going both. Stevenson for both.
Stevenson outright. Jared, are you saying Harris and then Stevenson?
For dynasty, I'd probably say Stevenson. But redraft, I'd say Harris.
Why Harris for redraft?
I don't know. I think he fits the offense better. I think that they're just more of a young team, and Stevenson is kind of like the up the middle back, and I think Harris would just be more like better served as like a outside pitch man.
So you don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Why is that?
Most of Harris's points last year came from touchdowns. What do you have? What was it, like 14 rushing touchdowns, something like that? Like he had a crazy amount of rushing touchdowns, and he's more of their power back than Stevenson. Stevenson's going to be involved in the receiving game. He's kind of their more versatile back.
I'm looking right now, and where I'd go is it's a toss up for me because you don't know what the split's going to be this year right now for Stevenson and Harris. My concern was with receptions. I was like, okay, well, I think Ramondre is going to really thrive with receptions and whatnot. I do think Harris is due for touchdown regression. So I do like what Zach brought up with the touchdowns, but Ty Montgomery is actually the guy. Evan Lazar reports that Montgomery could move into the James White role. So I bring this up when I ask that question. It's like, okay, how much is that James White role going to be there? Is Ty Montgomery really going to be doing that? I know he doesn't have a lot of good memories there with the Packers.
I don't buy it.
You're not buying it. Okay, and
I think Stevenson's going to get more receptions than I think Ty Montgomery's going to affect
my case.
These guys.
If you were making a case for Harris, I'd be pointing to this Montgomery thing is what I'm saying. But with that, I don't know. I'm not necessarily buying it either, but I think Ramondre Stevenson certainly has the chance to be the number one guy. And as camp is developing, we're seeing that actually take place.
I'm
Harris really close.
Listed as number one right now, actually.
He is. And with that, they were actually talking about when Harris was floating around trade rumors, even in camp. I still think Stevenson could take over that lead spot. I don't know. It's a toss-up for me right now, I'll be honest, for redraft, but I'll go Stevenson right now just based on reports of training camp, which might not be fair. But look, Zach, you still with Damian Harris, he still had the production role last year. I know he had the touchdowns, but who's to say that in this scheme, I know training camp has told us not right now, but who's to say when the season starts, he takes 60-40. He could be that 60% there in New England.
I just think Stevenson, I guess, has a similar floor to Harris, and I think he has more upside. So I guess that's where I'm.
ADP wise, yes. Stevenson. ADP, I would rather draft Stevenson because exactly what you just said, the floor situation. I think and Stevenson, I think, has a higher ceiling to outperform his ADP, as I think everyone should agree here. So, because Harris is still going ahead. Harris is like the definition, another dead zone running back, I'd say. And Stevenson's outside the dead zone, so I could go right with that. But let's go to Michael Thomas, and then we'll kind of wrap it up here. We are at the hour mark. This is going well here. So, not Jalen Hurts. I wanted to talk about Jalen Hurts. I really did. He looks amazing. But Michael Thomas, back to him. He looks good, is what Zach said. And I've seen. I was
Great
watching
report out
camp.
of camp from Zach.
Zach's been. It must have been there in New Orleans. Looks good, but really, having Jameis Winston, I think Michael Thomas. I mean, I personally was shying away from him. I don't like injuries from wide receivers, especially with the time he's missed. I'm like, a little scared. But Michael Thomas, Zach, when you say looks good, are you all in on Michael Thomas?
I wouldn't say I'm all in, just because I've started to like Olave more as the season goes on. I think Jarvis is still going to have a role. Kamara looks like his suspension is going to be next year. So I think there's a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. So I wouldn't say where's it going right now? I think like around 5, 6, something like that. I think we could see that even climb a little bit if if videos keep coming out about him running routes. I mean, reports are saying that he's beating corners very consistently. So I think if stuff like that keeps coming out, we're going to see his ADP rise. Might even get into the 4th round, just because people still think about what he did back in 2019.
Yeah,
but
that's the year that's the year he beat Marvin Harrison's reception record, right?
Yeah,
Was that his? Yeah,
Colts legend Marvin
Harrison. Yeah. Okay. I do like Michael Thomas, like you said, Drew. I did trade for him earlier, but then I flipped him for I forgot who I got. I think I got like Miles Sanders and a few other receivers. Well, like Zach said, I'm more high on Olave this year as well. I think that with Winston, I think that the Saints offense will be pretty good. There's a lot of weapons there with Landry, Winston, or not, Olave and Michael Thomas. 3 people there. Either one of them, I think it's going to be Thomas and Olave top 2. One of those players is going to explode this year. The other is going to kind of like ride the waves. I think Olave is going to have a great season, and Thomas will regress from his 2019 season, and the injury is going to affect him a little more than people I think are going to expect out of him.
Jared said what we're looking for. Chris Olave breakout as a rookie season. It's happening. Even that collab post we made, I said he's offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, might be.
I mean, Jameis needs to make it to the season first.
Yeah.
He's got to be.
He's got a little foot thing going on.
Famous Jameis?
He better, because if he doesn't, then Baker Mayfield's my backup. And if Sam Darnold's starting over there in Carolina.
Come on, Sam Darnold's not starting over there, Jared.
I got Jameis Winston, Zach Wilson. So if he doesn't play week 1,
well, as of right now,
I got a little situation on my hands.
As of right now, both quarterbacks are started projection week 1 at 0 points, so they don't know who's starting yet. It's not
like maybe you pick up some John Wolford. Maybe you just take a little risk.
I might have to.
Maybe just
I'll just start a receiver or something. Honestly,
there you go. There's the other option.
Shot Bateman.
So yeah, Michael Thomas. Right now, basically, it looks good. Proceed with caution is where we are at with him. He's drafted all formats. Still target him, but again, proceed with caution is where we'd go. I mean, that's gonna kind of wrap it up here.
One more thing. What I do want to briefly mention, you guys talked a lot of Packers, so I need to mention some Colts stuff.
Oh gosh.
You guys are making fun of Matt Ryan.
Breakout season.
I don't have a boo.
No.
I need to talk to Melon. I don't have a boo react.
So you guys were making fun of Matt Ryan, saying quarterback situation is not the same in Indy. Well, our receiving coach is Reggie Wayne. You know that, right? He did compare Matt Ryan to Peyton Manning, and Matt Ryan is fully on board.
Jared,
fully on board with the high
expectations. Devontae Adams said Derek Carr is a Hall of Fame quarterback. People say good things about their teammates.
No, Reggie Wayne won a World Series, won a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning, so he knows what it looks like, and he saw Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan said this is the place he wants to be if he's competing for a Super Bowl. He's 36, 37 years old. Any high level or like old quarterback's going to want to be on a contending team, and he says that Indy's the place to do it. So I think Matt Ryan's people are putting him bottom 5 in the league, bottom 10. This guy could be a Hall of Famer. He's got not quite. Obviously, he didn't win the Super Bowl against the Patriots, but
Colts
borderline,
first round exit. First round exit.
But are we going to win the division?
Yes, but then first round exit.
There we go. Irsay.
Wait, Jared,
Jim
what's the
Irsay
takeaway?
Jim Irsay guarantees Super Bowls in the next few years. My takeaway
What
is Matt
was your
Ryan.
point here?
Yeah, was it Matt Olson's a Hall of Famer? I guess I missed that. I'm sorry.
No, Matt Olson is a baseball player, Drew.
No, I said Matt Ryan. Did I?
Okay. No, you said Matt
No,
Olson.
you said Matt Olson.
Well, Matt Olson is going to be a Hall of Famer with the Atlanta Braves.
Matt Ryan.
Jared,
my point is Matt Ryan is getting slept on a little bit, and he could be a flex quarterback in some leagues in a 12-team league. I'm saying that he could be like one of those guys that I'm sure he's on a team somewhere. He's borderline top 20, I'd say.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just saying out of camp. Reports out of camp. He's been looking pretty good. So
I think that's kind of consensus, but okay.
No.
Sorry, you don't like the Colts.
Disagree.
Okay. You disagree.
Jared, Colts beat writer. Anyways, we have a Medium article up. Go check it out. We're talking about Superflex and why you should do it. It's an article I made. I love Superflex. I really want people to switch to Superflex leagues. I think there's so much more strategy. Basically, it was my argument. And it's more about quarterbacks still. So really 2 quarterback leagues, but go check that out. Of course, Instagram and Twitter. Jared, where we can find the Instagram and Twitter. Can you show me the screen? Yeah, up there. Yep, up there.
Right
Thank
there.
you. You're over there. And then, Zach, where can we begin our journey to $1 million?
On Thrive Fantasy. If you go
Yeah.
down below, scrolling across the bottom, down there.
Yeah, go sign up. So we have a few more spots left in our giveaway entry for entry number 3. Bobby Portis autograph autograph sports card, and Luke Gedeke of Valor's high school alumni. And look at that. He is in the NFL with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Did you guys hear he's getting first team work today? Was the report.
Right alongside Wirfs.
Yep. So look at that. You can get his autographed football card also with that Bobby Portis card. All you got to do, sign up for Thrive Fantasy. Link is down below. Easy. I mean, you just go deposit $10, use code J2M when you do that and sign up. Enter some contests. They actually did a slash the prop today. 6.5 was the strikeout line for Jacob deGrom only instead of 9.5. Jared, did you take advantage of that?
I did, but I also had a Corbin Burns line, and he had 6. He needed 8.
Can't win them all.
But as we speak right now, Jacob deGrom has 9, so he hit.
Yeah. Easy. So look at that. You would have had a free line. It's just a matter of choosing the right one, which Jared did not do. Zach,
and Brubaker hit too. So if Burns would have hit, I would have won.
Football wise, we are getting really close. Is there any lines right now? Like, I mean,
can't wait.
Are you looking? Have you been looking at them? Do you have a favorite right away?
I got some parlays and some contests already. Obviously, they got their was the big week 1 contest. Made an entry into that. Got some little parlays here. I'm gonna pull up.
And how much are those worth, Zach?
The house
kind of mixing everything.
Couple $100.
Just see it like, yeah, we got a little bit of everything. I'll just pull one up here. Jonathan Taylor took the over. Then I got a Lamar Jackson over for passing and rushing yards. So you combine them for 300.5. I placed that one a while ago, so that one may have changed. Got Joe Burrow over passing yards, Jamar Chase over receiving yards for a 4-leg one. But, I mean, I think it's a lock. I will have to see, but knowing my betting history, it's probably going to be like 1 leg, right? But
I want your opinion on mine because I did do a 4-legger for NFL week 1. I do have Jonathan Taylor over the 108.5 rushing yards, obviously.
Yep.
I got Nick Chubb over 80.5 rushing yards. it seemed every game last year he had over 100. So like,
Okay.
go with that. Josh Allen over 270.5 passing yards, week 1. Fair.
Okay.
Prime time Thursday night. And then we
Against
got
the Rams.
Yep.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah, and then we got CMC over 105.5 rushing and receiving yards.
Love that pick.
Lots
of
I got that
overs.
one
I'm
a
all for the
different one.
overs.
So
Yeah.
Awesome. I have my football ones packed in too. I did the contest that Zach mentioned. You guys don't get to hear my lines. They're a secret though. But we have some, we'll have some community engagement here, of course, with the listeners in those Thrive lines. Just stay tuned on the Instagram for that. Again, at Drew Sports Crew. And if you're listening to the audio, want to listen to us at YouTube, please go ahead. It's in our link tree. Just go find us, or just go search on YouTube, Drew's Sports Crew. Pop right up. Even Journey to a Million, it'll pop up. It's pretty cool. There you go. So that's all we have here, and that's going to wrap it up. So thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew's Sports Crew, the Journey to a Million, the perfect podcast for you. Thank you, everybody. Good night.